Hello everyone, Alpha here, and welcome to ABT Bloom Seeds. This is the third episode, and I'm very happy to be your host. Tonight's topic is taking risk in difficult situations. That's an interesting one. Taking risk is a component of the decision-making process, a situation that involves uncertainty and in which the probability of each outcome or negative consequences is already known. That's interesting though. Yes. The process helps us to make tough decisions. For example, when I quit my 9 to 5 job, some people look at me like I was crazy. But I knew what I was doing. And if you want the best out of your life, you have to be the biggest risk taker. That's all I will say for now. Okay. And this process helps us to make tough decisions, like I said, that showcase our strength that drive towards success mindset. What a beautiful way to live your life. But yes, still, people don't see that way. Now, taking risk doesn't mean succeeding every time. Yes. But it's okay. It can lead to failure. That's the interesting part. That in turn, it can help you to grow as a person. Can you imagine how scary that sounds when you consider the perception of the modern society where people expect you to succeed in your actions, where people expect you to succeed in your goals? People don't tolerate failures nowadays. People frown at our mistakes. So it's very difficult to take risk, especially in difficult situations. Now, everything we do in this life as humans is risky. It is risky to fall in love, yes, to pursue our career path, to live the life that we want, and so on. It is very, very risky. One key thing to note is that the higher the risk, the bigger the reward. That's the beauty of the whole process. But how many of us can pull it off? That's another question for another day. That's the main reason why life is a beautiful gift to explore. Okay? Difficult situations are there to test us to show our true characters and be the better version of ourselves. Most times, we give up when we face adversities and we become scared to take a necessary risk. I can understand why people are scared to take risk. I've been thinking about it every time, risk, because I'm a big risk taker and I don't settle for less. That's why when we're doing the ABT Bloom Seeds, we invite experts in their fields to showcase their talents. These are risk takers. They have been there, they have done that. They know how it feels to fail and how it feels to succeed. Okay? You don't get success overnight. It comes with huge amount of failures, you taking the risk and every time and every opportunity that present themselves. Okay? Throughout my journey as a coach, I've taken so many risks in difficult situations. Those moments made me fearless. That's a big part for me. Okay? And I'm now living the life that I love. But guess what? The challenges will never, well, they'll be there until you take the necessary actions. Everyone is going to die. Anyways, that's the reality. Okay? So why not risk it to explore life, explore the life that you love? Life happens, and that's the most beautiful and essential part. We'll be right back. Hi, I am Bakarr Timbo, a personal result coach and CEO of ABT Coaching Company Limited. At ABT Coaching, we help our clients to unlock their true potential and explore the gift of life through our system of coaching. Have you ever wondered why you struggle to set your goals, to be in a better relationship, unable to walk through the right path of your career development, discover your better version, procrastinate on how to kickstart your business plans? Challenging, right? Our societies have corrupted our minds not to explore life as we should. And its narrative have forced us to be stuck in our comfort zones. But guess what? We have all the powers within us to walk the path that we want and stretch ourselves to be successful. If you feel life is all about staying in your comfort zone, then our coaching programs are not for you. But if you feel there is more to life and it's a must for life exploration, get in touch and prove to us that you're a great fit for our coaching programs. Cheers, and see you on the other side. God bless. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the third episode of the ABT Bloom series, season 2. And tonight we're discussing the topic, taking risk in difficult situations. Our guest is an experienced communication professional with over 10 years of experience in public sector. That's a good one. He holds the following qualification. He has a Bachelor of Arts degree in History from Bakarr College and a Master degree in Diplomacy, University of Reading, that's the UK. And also holds a certificate in Advanced Public Relations, that's from Ghana. He has developed himself by creating the beautiful and wonderful foundation in strategic communication, planning, media relations, crisis management, and stakeholder engagements. Throughout his career, he has led successful communication initiatives for a range of public sector organizations, including government agencies, non-profits, and academic institutions. He has a proven track record of developing effective communication strategies that align with organizational goals and achieve measurable results. He is also a skill writer. Yes, that's one I can attest to that one. He has developed numerous communication materials, including press releases, speeches, and social media content. Some of his remarkable contributions to the Sierra Leone public sector includes during his time with the Public Sector Reform Unit, Office of the President from 2015 to 2020. He worked closely with a consultant to produce the first ever video documentary that captured the progress being made within the public sector. That's a remarkable one. In addition to his professional accomplishments, he is also a respected thought leader in the communication field. Overall, he's a highly qualified communication expert with a wealth of experience in the public sector and a strong commitment of achieving organizational objectives through effective communication. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Haroun Sheriff. Welcome, Haroun.
Thank you so much, Timbo, and good evening from your end, good afternoon from my end, and good evening to you and viewers and listeners. I feel honored and privileged to be invited to be part of this discussion today.
Thank you very much. That's a quick reminder before we dive deep into this conversation. This is a live discussion. Should we lose internet connectivity or electricity, please don't leave, as we'll be right back. I invite you to engage with each other in the comment section and to ask questions. Also, as you're watching, please share the conversation. It's very important. Welcome again, Haroun.
Thank you once again, Alpha Timbo.
Great. Haroun, many of life's greatest achievements require going outside of our comfort zone. I can tell you, on my part, I've taken risks so many times, and equally, I've failed so many times. So, someone will be like sitting down in his quiet corner, thinking, why do we take risk? For me, I know I want a better life. I want to evolve. I want to give back to society. I want to give back to the world because I'm a human. I don't know how long I will live. So the best I can do is like make use of my time. In your own scenario, in your situation, you've seen the world, okay? and you've evolved. What's your take about risk taking?
Um, Thank you so much, Alpha Timbo, and listening to you carefully when you gave a synopsis of risk taking and the concept, I said to myself, do I need to say anything again? Alpha Timbo has said everything that I wanted to say. But it is also important that I I attempt to unpack the concept of risk taking before elucidating on some of the things that I have done in terms of taking risk in my personal development and career as a whole. Tibo, I tell you, taking risk in difficult situations can be challenging, but potentially rewarding. It requires individuals like you and myself to step out of our comfort zones and make decisions or take decisions in a very uncertain atmosphere. However, this can lead, or these decisions that we tend to take sometimes can be of huge, significant impact in our lives. They'll serve as a recipe for success. They'll help capacitate us in our professional careers or business careers, or as the case may be. But in taking risk, Alpha, there are key pointers that I'd like to talk about that are very, very important. The first one I'll start with is evaluating the situation. Before you take a risk, you have to carefully assess the situation. What do I mean? You have to understand the potential risk, and as you clearly mentioned, the reward or rewards that are attributed to taking this particular risk. So that is very, very important. You just don't take risk for the sake of taking a risk. So the first thing you have to do is you evaluate the situation before taking the risk. And again, the second thing you have to look at, you weigh the pros and cons. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? It is important you know them, because if you know the advantages, then you endeavor to take the risk. And if the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, it is a venture that is worth taking. And this brings me specifically to what scholars call calculated risk. Calculated risk in risk taking is of utmost importance, Alpha. You have to do a proper analysis. And before I move in further, there's this saying: the worst risk is taking no risk at all. That is the worst risk, taking no risk. So, as human beings, as individuals, as professionals, or as business people, or as the case may be, it is important that we take calculated risk.
Thank
And
you.
also, we have what we call the what if. I think that has been the biggest problem. Timbo, what if I fail? What if my friends laugh at me? What would my family say? This is the what if syndrome. And this syndrome has affected a lot of individuals. So we should see fear as something that we can always overcome.
Now
And
I have to stop you there alone. The reason is you mentioned fear and overcoming it, and you talking about the what if and evaluating the situation. What I would say to that one is, you have to know yourself better. When you know yourself
absolutely,
better, it puts you in a situation like you're in control. Okay? They fear you. Let's not don't make mistake about it. We will never overcome fear. What we do is that to quiet them because they will be there. Okay? Take for example, when you want to step out of your house, Okay, you know that every day like you're going to do your 9 to 5 job, or you're going for like a run, you're going for like watch a movie or whatever. There's this fear that will come to you like, hey, what if I'm being wrong? What if I die going out? What
You have
if
an
whatever
accident.
thing
What if
happens?
you have an accident?
Exactly, exactly. So the thing is, the fear will always be there. So what you will do is for you to like. That's why I love the situation where you say you have to analyze the situation. You have to, as in every day. It enables you to know yourself. And trust me, Aaron, when you know yourself, it doesn't even stop by you taking risk. It gives you that clarity in your career pathway. It gives you that clarity in whatever you want to achieve in this life. So it's very, very important. I love that part. So continue, Aaron. You were saying
Yes.
about the what if fear.
Yes, just to add to that, Timbo, from a general perspective, one thing we should have also have in mind in overcoming fear is the ability to engage, the ability to ask questions, the ability to find mentors, the ability to do research. These are the prerequisites in overcoming fear. No better. You have to have an idea of what you're getting into. So once you know what you're getting into, it is the tension of fear. And finally, Timbo, just to add to the final point on that is trust your instincts, your gut feelings. I was reading a Nigerian book that says the chi is basically the personal spirit given to us by God that tells you what to do sometimes. So it is very important that sometimes you trust your feelings, your instincts in when taking risk. And just to close on that, Timbo, in terms of taking risk, what might be good for you will not be good for me. You live in the public sector, going into the private sector might be good for you. But as Haroun, it might not be good for me. So risk taking also involves personal choices and preferences. So I wanted to end on that. Now, let me talk about, let me give a brief example about myself in terms of my career. I finished university in 2003, and then I traveled to the UK to do my master's in diplomacy. Upon completion of my master's, I came back to Freetown, Sierra Leone, and started working for an NGO, Team Up for Justice, where I started off my career. And I spent 3 years working for Team Up for Justice, and then I got something with the National Revenue Authority. I had a short spell with the National Revenue Authority for about 4 months, but by then I had what people normally call I get million person within the institution, someone I could leverage on, a top-notch professional, someone who provided advice, someone who guided me. I had that person. But I was desperate to move on, Timbo. And luckily for me, I got an offer at the public sector reform unit. I was caught in the middle of the deep blue sea, leaving an institution that I could leverage on someone who was in the senior management and moving to an institution where by then it seemed starting all over again. So I couldn't sleep. The first thing I did was to engage that individual. I told that person, I don't want to call the name. If that person is watching, he knows exactly that I'm talking about him. So we had a conversation. He didn't want me to leave. He told me clearly, he said, no, listen, you can work, you have a bright future at NRE. And I said to him, let me think about it. I woke up one morning, I couldn't talk to him at the office. I went to his house and I told him, I am leaving. He was upset, but I knew what I wanted in life. I knew the impact I wanted to create, and I knew my capacity. So I said to that person, I am leaving, and I left. That was in 2015 March, and I went to the public sector reform unit. It was a new arena in terms of delivering or showcasing my ability. And Timbo, that was the break. That was the higher point or the higher note in my career. What happened? I went into the public sector reform unit. I met a boss who was extremely professional as well. And some of the gains I have made today started at the public sector reform unit. I'll just give you a brief synopsis of the things that I did based on the decision I took to leave the NRA by then. I helped in creating the very first video documentary for the public sector. I became the face of the national TV, moderating the public sector reform hour program, basically a program that talks about the reforms initiatives implemented by government during that time. It was a program that the civil servants, the public sector were looking forward to every week. For me, I felt my decision to leave the NRA brought me to that spotlight. And it has been moving from I wouldn't say the low, moving from one point to another. That gave me a lot of exposure within the public sector. And then I was again tapped by the head of the Justice Sector Coordination Office, where I worked for 2 years before I actually traveled to Canada. What happened there? Because of the same decision, the risk I took in leaving the NRA, where I could leverage on that individual to make it more comfortable for me, I said, no, I can do it on my own. I have the capacity, I have the ability, and I'll survive. And during my time at the Justice Sector Coordination Office, with all humility, Alpha, I'd say I left a mark there. What did I do? I developed the very first justice sector communication strategy that is being used by the justice sector with the help of a consultant. I also introduced the very first newsletter for the justice sector. So these are huge achievements, and they came to life based on the decision, the risk I took in leaving the National Revenue Authority for the public sector reform unit. Timbo, I'll say this in Q. People will say, well, you don't come on NIA, you say money there, you don't go public sector reform unit. But it wasn't about the money for me. It was about creating impact. And today I'll say, Alhamdulillah. So that has been my journey so far in terms of taking risks. That's probably the biggest risk I have taken.
Right. That's a good one, Haroun. And what people don't understand is I have to mention this one because when you're taking risk, what happens to you is that you need that guidance. Yeah, what I'm doing now is like I never did it alone. I went through the process wherein I work with mentors, I work with coaches. That's why I'm coaching people now. You know, in Sierra Leone, I have to talk about this one. In Sierra Leone, people don't really know the power of coaching or mentorship. Okay, we see people being successful. We don't know what the kind of work they put in behind the scenes. Okay, I've been fortunate to be coached by so many wonderful individuals. Okay, and I've become a better person now. I'm not scared of taking risk. I'm not scared of failing. Okay. Now you heard what Aaron was saying. The risk that he took, from NIA to the justice sector. These are not like ordinary things to do. Okay. If you are thinking small, there's no way you can take risk. But if you are ready and you're willing to be the bigger picture of yourself, you will take risk. So at this point, we'll take a short break. I'll be right back. Do you believe in yourself? As humans, we need to have self-belief to explore life. Having a mindset will help us to set the pace for success. Trust me, you can do whatever you put your mind to if you believe. Guess what? Our coaching programs have helped so many people to master the art of self-belief and take the necessary actions
to be successful. So, if you lack self belief, get in touch and experience our wonderful ABT coaching techniques. Cheers and have a wonderful new week.
To the show. If you're just joining us, you're watching the Bloom Series with me, Alpha Bakarr Timbo, and with me on the show is Haroun Sharif, and we are talking about taking risk in difficult situations. Now, Haroun, many people have had that negative view of failure, and I just spoke about it before we went on a break. But actually, it can provide an essential tool for building character, a strong character. Do you believe, this is just a personal question based on your experience, do you
Mm.
believe failure makes us stronger and more resilient?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Timbo, I'll say this again. Um, you first of all, you'll never make progress without taking a risk, and I'll put in brackets calculated risk. You never make progress, and failure. That's where we tend to get it wrong sometimes. I'll tell you personally, failure is part of life. Show me someone who hasn't failed in anything before, and then we can close this program.
No one.
Show me someone who hasn't failed.
No one.
You need to fail to attain that level of success. And trying and failing is not a disgrace. It's not a disgrace. They say experience comes from failing. I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example. Timbo, upon completion again of my first degree at Robbie College, I was so excited to travel. I was so excited to travel to the UK because my dad had promised me that the only way I'd travel overseas is if I if I complete my degree course at Robbie College. So I was so excited, you know, telling people that, oh, as I don't college to be papa, I go do my masters. So I completed my course. I had a very close friend. I told him, oh, I'm putting my application to get a visa to travel to the UK. Imagine the excitement. Well, I'll say relatively, I'm still young, but I was younger by then. So we spent hours completing that application, myself and my dad, because my mom was in the UK by then. So we completed. We thought we had mastered the application in terms of completing the process. So I submitted the application, with all everything in my head, telling my friends I'm leaving for the UK. To my to my biggest to my biggest surprise, when I went for the interview by then, Timbo, I was denied a visa. I was denied a visa. I couldn't stop crying. I was ashamed. What do I say to people? What do I tell people? You understand? So I was really, really downtrodden. And by then, the thing, my sister had gone. My elder sister had gone. So I became really despondent. So I had to walk from Spur Road to Sheriff Drive because I couldn't sit. I was crying. I thought, that's it for me. That's it. So until I went home, my dad came back. He met me crying. And then he said to me, no, this is not what life is about. This is not what life is about. In life, you should fail before you succeed. He said, bring the refusal letter to me. Let me see what this, let me see the contents of the letter. So we looked at that letter. By then, the fame, imagine it was in 2003. The phrase that left, that's still dangling in my head is on the balance of probability. We're not sure you'd come back. We're not sure you're purposely going for this cause. So, Tipo, you know what happened? I took a week looking at the refusal letter with my dad to see how best we can reapply. So we didn't give up. And then he served as my mentor. And as you rightly pointed out, we need people to guide us. By then I thought everything was that's it for me. I didn't give up, Timbo. We reapplied again. And I'll tell you, after failure, the success that comes is even much more better. It's even more better. So for the second time, we reapplied and I got the visa. Timbo, I forgot about the misery I had gone through, the excitement I had, the joy, but I did not give up. I tried. And that's what life is about. We all fail sometimes. It's the ability to bounce back, the resilience. And sometimes they say it's a comfort zone, but it's not, Alpha. It's not a comfort zone. I'd rather call it a damage zone because it actually stops you from pursuing your dreams, pursuing your careers, and thinking, I might fail. So for me, failure is part of my journey. So the
Now, my,
takeaway,
I think the thing is, it's very interesting when, sorry for that one. It's very interesting when you mention what you went through and the refusal of your visa to UK. I had a similar situation, okay? And I was refused like two times. Went to the UK, okay? When I finished my program, my degree program at the Fabi College. And for me, I was like devastated, and I can still remember what my dad told me, like just like like that's why I was just shaking my head, like it's like you're talking to me. Okay, my dad told me the same thing, like you have to fail for you to succeed. Okay, and I want to tell you this: when I traveled to China, when I went to my master's degree program, what happened was that this is where I discovered the whole coaching thing, the whole ABT coaching thing that I'm doing now. And it's like I was passionate about something, okay, which was coaching. And this is other thing about you taking a risk. I just mentioned earlier that you have to know yourself. I won't, if you don't know yourself, it's like you're wasting your time. Okay. That's why coaching comes in. That's why mentorship comes in. That's why sometimes counseling comes in or therapy comes in. You have to know yourself. Okay. The importance of coaching, the way I'm stressing the coaching, because coaching is about now, the present moment. The mentorship, the counseling, the therapy, they are like for the feeling for the future. Or things that have happened in your life and you want to like you don't want them to repeat itself again. Coaching is real, it's like a real time, and you have to like walk through the present moment. Okay. This one mentioned this one is like, when you're going through life alone, there's so many failures that will come your way. There's so many distractions because that's what I have to talk about it. Because, for example, in Sierra Leone, there are so many distractions, so many of them. So how can you succeed? How can you try to know yourself? Okay. So based on that one, what I want to ask Aaron, this is like I want you to like give an advice to because I talk about the Sierra Leone youths now. Okay. We have seen situations where the ordinary citizens are scared of taking risk. Sometimes they take risks, but they're doing it in a wrong way. Okay, some people take drugs to like feel the passion to do the wrong things in life. Some people they take different things, different substance, and it's sad though. Their mindset has been programmed, okay, to always work within the narrative of the system in the country. For me, okay, it's that's one is unfortunate. So I won't. Based on the situation, what kind of advice can you offer?
Thank you so much, and it's a very interesting question, Timbo. Um, I was actually reading a book quite some time back, and I'm sure you must have heard about Jack Ma. Jack Ma, he once said, "What if this happens?" That particular language, what if this happens? He said it is the language of the poor. You understand? That is the language of the poor. Why not say, okay, if I do this, I'll benefit. This is what I'll get. Why not think about the rewards that you get out of taking risk in a difficult situation? Now, back to your question. I look at it from two perspectives, Timbo. I look at it from the business point of view. Let us start with the business point of view. One thing I'll say is with young Sierra Leoneans nowadays, Timbo, I'll say this and I'll say this from the bottom of my heart. I think the ability to take risk is really high compared to how it was. What do I mean? You see a lot of young people going into business. A lot of young people going into business. Going into business, it's a risky venture because you're not sure whether you'll succeed or whether you'll fail. When I see a lot of people, you check WhatsApp statuses, you see people saying, "Oh, contact me for this, contact me for that." So on that particular note, we're doing as young Sierra Leoneans, we're doing quite well. But I think what we are missing out on is that aspect that you talked about, the mentorship, tapping into the resources or the ability or into the brains of successful people is the missing link between young people going into businesses and having that success. That is the missing link. People wake up in the morning, in as much as we see the quest to take the risk, but it should be calculated. Let's say, for example, if I'm a young man and I want to open a coaching business, Timbo, I'll definitely contact you. You'll be my first point of call because you've done a lot. You're an epitome of a risk taker. Leaving the public sector, going into the private sector, it's a high risk. Whilst you were working for EDSA, because I could remember, you spent around 15 years or so working for EDSA, where you were guaranteed salary every month. But you looked at all those things, you left, and then now you are on your own, doing your own thing. Now you have to pay people salaries. Correct me if I'm wrong.
True, true.
The mentorship aspect is missing. So, on that note, what I'll say to young Sierra Leoneans, the entrepreneurs, tap into the resources or the ability of the successful people. It did not happen by magic. They did not get to that level by playing around. No, it took them time, energy, resources, research to get to where they are today. So that's for the people, the entrepreneurs. Now, let us look at the career aspect, Timbo. How many young people would see a job and straight apply for that job? Not many. Because there's already a perception that says, "Oh, if I apply for that job, they may not get forget Sambo. Yeah, me not they apply for and they allow lefa. The papa not to politician, the mama not to politician." It's a perception. It's a perception. How many young people in offices are applying or are seeking to contribute positively towards the development of that institution they're working for? If you see a vacancy, would you apply? I think that's where we're missing out in terms of career prospects. Take the risk, believe in yourself. I'll give you a personal example. The job I got at Public Sector Reform Unit in 2015, I was in the USA, and then someone forwarded the vacancy to me. Timbo, based on my background, I have no, by then, I had no knowledge in communication. So I saw the vacancy. I had a chat with this particular person. And then the person said to me, go ahead and apply. You don't have anything to lose. What if you get the job? What if? What if you get the job? Why not think about what if you get the job? So I put in that application. I took my time. I spent days doing a cover letter, doing my CV, making sure that it's professional. And as God could have it, I applied. And I got the job. I got the job. And sometimes we tend not to believe in ourselves, but there are other people that really believe in us. They know our ability, they know our capacity, and they know our strength. So my advice to the young people pursuing their career is take that risk, put in that application, look for mentorship. Within the office, you can get mentorship. Take that chance, capacitate yourself. Preparation plus luck is equals to success.
That's a good one, Haroun.
Preparation plus luck is equals to success. Take the risk, apply for that job. I'll also give an example. I have a brother that lives in the UK. In terms of taking risk, we talk about that all the time. He sent, I'll give you this. It's just a quick one, Timbo. He sent me a message quite recently. Haroun, if you have your last $10,000, would you play to win $4 million, or you rather not play? Can you imagine? Randomly, he sent me that message. So what does that tell you? There are people thinking outside the box. And he said to me, no, I said to him, no, tell me what you do. He said, I'll play. But then I said to him, what if you lose? He said, no, it's not what if I lose. What if I win? What if I win? So that's the mindset we should have. What if I win? Not what if I lose. Not what Timbo thinks about me. Not what my family members think. It's what I want. And failure should not deter us. So my advice is for the professionals and the entrepreneurs, seek mentorship, do research, ask questions, take calculated risk. These are the pointers. These are the foundation of the successful people that we have today. And just to wrap up on that, I'm not sure, I'm not a scientist, but I'm quite attributed to this particular example. Thomas Edison, the man that invented light bulb. Thibault, he tried over 1,000 times and he failed. But you know what he said? He said, no, I did not fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 times of experiments that did not work. That's not failure. And here we are today. On top of my head, I can see a light bulb. For someone that failed over 1,000 times, how many of us can do that? That is the mentality we need. That is what we need to succeed. Success does not come easy. It comes with sleepless nights. And I'm sure you can attest to that. Sure. So on that note, I'll encourage young people, and to a large extent, relatively old people as well, to take that risk. It's never too late until you're 6 feet. Once there's life, there's hope. And finally, Timbo, me relocating to Canada at this time, it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I thought about. But as an individual, I'm here today. And one thing I am willing to do is to unlearn and relearn. I say unlearn because I have to forget about Sierra Leone and I have to learn about Canada for me to succeed. It's a risk. I had a very good job back in Freetown, Sierra Leone, but I'm here in Canada. It wasn't planned, but it happened. So that's a risk for me. And I know I'll succeed.
For
And
sure.
I know I'm in the right trajectory.
Sure, for sure,
So
for sure.
that's the piece I'll leave with the young people.
Thank you very much, Haroun. I appreciate your insight on the topic. Taking risk uh, will help you to discover your better version. That's for everyone out there. If you are struggling with these concepts, please send us a message at ABT Coaching. Maybe you might be an excellent fit for our coaching programs. At this point, with that said, we have come to the end of the show. Thanks so much, Arun, for being in conversation with me. A huge thanks to everyone who is watching this live. Take care. Until we meet again, I remain humble.